Welcome to Breakfast Central on a Friday morning. It's TGIF eventually. For all those who enjoyed the holiday from Wednesday and Thursday, well, if you are not the boss, like some would say, there's no need for you to go to work. But don't try it this time because you may end up losing your job. The economy is not that easy. So take note of that, by the way. But welcome. Today promises to be a very interesting day. It's May 29th, and I'm sure if you understand history, it used to be Democracy Day before it was eventually moved to June 12th by the former late President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. But whether it's May 29th or June 12th, we must not forget what history stands for. And on May 29th today, we're taking a look at something that's very, very important and concerns you as well. But in the meantime, I want to say welcome. This is going to be a blue day because the team is all spotted in a Chelsea blue. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, Jonathan?
That's what it is.
I beg
What's good, Olive? On a blue.
I beg to differ. Up Man United. Manchester United is the color. This red.
Benga, feel free. Benga, relax.
It's navy. This is navy blue.
No,
it's celebrating Nigerian Navy at 7.
Or is it?
It has nothing to do with Chelsea.
That's a good one.
Please.
No. It's a Chelsea Man City thing. You know,
please,
thank you.
leave Chelsea alone. Chelsea is not part of the conversation.
TGIF, welcome to Breakfast Central. And for executives and also state governors, this is the best day to check for absenteeism. Because after that 2-day public holiday, I know many civil servants, you are watching me and God is also watching you. You need to give to whom Caesar, to Caesar what is due to Caesar. So today, many civil servants will say, you know, the weekend is here. We had Wednesday and Thursday off. Let's just take it.
Perhaps. You can understand
Imagine
that.
they just take 10%
If I was not a
from
civil
your salary.
servant myself and I wasn't like working on TV, I probably would have applied for my leave on Friday so that I can take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I've gone to like Cotonou or somewhere just around the border to just relax and enjoy my life. But holidays aren't the reason we're here this morning. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central. For the next 3 hours, we're taking you on a tour around the country, looking at some of the biggest socioeconomic and political stories in Nigeria. Today, like Joe mentioned, marks 3 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office, and we're going to be doing a critical assessment of his time in office, the implication so far on our policies and the judiciary. So stick around for that. Just to give a very special welcome to our YouTube audience. Thank you for always engaging with us all through the show. It's always a pleasure to have you. I think today I'm going to even do special shout out. But before I do that to our YouTube audience, I must mention that I was on set on this day 2 years ago. Do you remember, Joe? When my sister had her baby.
Oh,
yes. So my nephew was born on what was Democracy Day. So happy birthday to my incredible, beautiful Jeremy. I love you. And you know, when he was born, Osage said he should have been named Tinubu.
Oh, because of democracy. He has a point. Maybe not Tinubu, but Bola Ahmed. Or Ashu Jeremy.
No. But yes. How are you doing? Happy birthday, my darling Jeremy. Go on YouTube and start to drop your comment. News Central TV Live on YouTube is the channel. Let's see what you have to say. Joe?
May 29, well, definitely that's when Nigeria decided to return to democracy, leaving the military rule. Of course, the man who definitely started it all as Nigeria's, you could say, first democratic president, decided to take the center stage and lead, followed by others. And today people are saying, are we still in a democracy or not? If you find out what Nigerians are saying, you also get to hear that. But let's start off.
I wonder what Fela would have said if you were alive.
Who, Fela?
Anikulapo Mukuti himself. I wonder the kind of songs he would have sung.
Because he hadn't even, back there when he was singing protest music.
Yes.
And, advocating for good governance.
Yes,
the things that were going on were not at this level. So imagine if we were alive.
And he was more like a prophet. Some of the things he had said fulfilled back then and are still fulfilling till now. You know, take for instance, he said suffering and smiling. We see that a lot today. People are suffering and people are also smiling at the same time.
At least they can choose one.
There's so many things. Like, it's so interesting to see that the songs that Fela sang at the time are very relevant now. There are a number of artists then, those who sang conscious music, the likes of African China, the songs they sang.
But wait, what's going on these
now.
days? I mean, people, the cost of living is so high, petrol price is high.
Kerosene just went up.
Yes, kerosene is almost 4,000
4,000
a litre. And artists are singing your body is similar to a meat pie. What's really going on? What happened to conscious music?
We should use the exact words. Your body not meat pie.
Oh my
Bingo.
God. This generation of artists.
It's talking about food. Let's start off with
disappointed.
This
Did
morning.
any of you get salamis, by the way?
Yeah,
No, I didn't.
All right. Imagine you're driving and you get to see a herd of cows crossing and you decide to whip out your phone to record. Well, one driver did just that and the herdsman wasn't having it. The driver was driving along the expressway of the Central Business District area of Abuja when he saw a flock of cattle moving on the expressway. On seeing the unusual sight of the incident, made the driver slow down his vehicle, pull out his phone, and started filming cows grazing and crossing the expressway. The husband quickly approached the driver, telling him not to record the cows, insisting that they were his property. Be careful. Some witnesses said the herdsman was visibly upset, worried the video might be used to shame him or cause trouble online. Stopping to record on a busy expressway could cause accidents. But don't take our words for it like we usually say. Listen and watch this video.
Don't video my car again.
You are very silly. What do you mean, don't video your car? What do you mean that I shouldn't video?
Like I don't know what I'm doing.
That's what I'm telling you now. You are doing the right thing.
Video what you are going to do.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yes,
Why are you bothered?
Video my
Why are you bothered?
I told you, don't video my car on this time.
That's what I'm telling you. Why are you bothered?
See, even though that you are videoing, you cannot do anything to me.
That's what I'm saying now.
But
So why are you
videoing,
bothered?
Keep videoing.
So why are you bothered?
I support the border because it's my car that you are videoing.
I'm using your car. Your car is in the
What is
town.
the reason? What is the reason?
So you tell me why I cannot video.
What is the reason?
Tell me why I cannot video.
No,
That's what I'm asking you.
Video me.
That I'm asking
Video me.
you.
I'm not scared of you. I'm
That's
not
what
scared
I'm
of everything
saying.
that you are going to do.
I am asking now, why are you bothered?
Why I'm not going to
What's
bother?
going to worry you now?
Why are you going to video my car? For what reason?
What I'm saying now,
It's
why
what
are you
people
worried?
used to do. When Fulani people do something, you have people.
So you Fulani are supposed to be taking care on the city.
On the
City,
city,
this is development.
Okay.
This is development.
Okay. The city is not for the government, it's for you. Are you the one that
It's for all of us, but
okay,
cow,
for all of us.
wait,
So what is the reason that
let
you are
me
going
tell
to video
you,
my car?
let me tell you. Cow,
I wanna take that
this
one.
is a modern time, eh? Cow all over the world. There's what
I
they
don't
call ranch.
understand. I don't understand.
There's what they call ranch.
ranch.
There's what they call
I don't
ranch.
understand what
Where
you
cow grow
Okay,
properly.
okay.
But not in the
No,
city. Now,
no.
I won't pass now.
Okay.
Your cow, stop my car. You didn't allow me to pass. No, it's stopping now. No problem.
See, let
I'm hearing you.
let me tell you something that you don't know.
Yes.
Even though for the next time, don't try to say that you are going to video somebody's property. You understand?
Where is your property?
And don't even talk like
This is your property. This is a city.
Okay.
Anybody
I'm
can
coming,
video
I'm coming,
anywhere.
I'm coming. No,
So
you
what
cannot
I'm-
video my car.
No, you cannot tell me.
video-
So you keep your car
Is it
in-
on? Is it your car?
That's why you
Is
should
it your
keep
car?
it in the
Now
ranch.
when I do something to your car,
Now, cows are a common sight in Abuja, whether you like it or not, and this debate did not start today. Hence why this video is trending online and people are talking about it. If you live in Abuja, particularly the FCT, let's put it that way, in these areas, you would find out that the people who live in these areas that see cows frequent the expressway have complained tirelessly. Now, what have they said? They've said, listen, these cows that you find on the expressway can cause traffic. However, they've petitioned, they've called on the FCT minister to see what he can do. But on that video that we just saw, we did see the altercation, I mean,
Right.
in terms of words.
Exchange. Yeah.
Exchange of words from one...
Very educated exchange, by the way.
very educated one, even though there seemed to have been a little space that could have helped the
So,
man in the car, and of course helping to educate and explain that this issue needs to be stopped.
so the question now is, and this is like you did say, it's not a new issue. Having people open grazing, the argument about open grazing and the comparison with what's obtainable, global best practices. I mean, you go abroad and you don't see cows moving on the road, but then the herdsmen would argue with you and say to you that this is their way of living, it's a part of their life, it's a part of their culture. And even now, some of the arguments we hear is that their typical grazing routes are plagued by insecurity. Then there's a herdsman-farmer crisis that has been happening. That argument he was giving of saying that they shouldn't film his cows, but they can film him, it's legally unfounded. I don't understand, where he got that concept from, that it's okay that he can insist on a citizen to not film his cows that are literally on the road. Filming on the road is not an offense. Unless you want to say, okay, the man was driving and making a video, then maybe the traffic angle to it can come in. But filming on the road and filming the cows can never be an offense. And then the question is, aren't there laws that are governing how, or that should govern how grazing happens, or how people feed their animals, how they take their cows on grazing? Is it allowed for these animals to roam freely on the FCT, knowing fully well that it's prone to cause an accident? These roads are not meant for cows. They're meant for cars and humans. So the question is, if there are laws, why aren't the laws being regulated or being implemented? What body is responsible for ensuring that we do not see constant replays of situations like this that would lead to further altercation, where they are standing in their right, or they believe they're standing in their right by taking their cows to cross the road? And the whole, imagine that, people are running to the airport, everybody will have to wait for this. And this is not the first time we're seeing this.
No, it's not the first time.
Yeah.
I've seen it in Abuja as well.
This is my take on this issue. Global best practices. This is 2026. There's nowhere in the world. I mean, the world's largest producers of beef, Argentina, New Zealand, Australia, you wouldn't see open grazing like this. The government has only paid lip service to it. And as far as I know, they haven't banned open grazing in the FCT.
But they did. The minister will tell you that he did. The FCT minister, they put a ban.
So, it's an inconvenience to people. Imagine going to the airport and you are delayed because of this. And that particular area is famous for open grazing. It's very close to New Central Studios in Abuja. That's around the World Trade Center. It's a very busy highway. It's prone to accidents. So let's not inconvenience others. If you're going to graze your cows, you should do it somewhere where you wouldn't obstruct traffic. And also, I would say the southern equivalent to this, it's not just open grazing, parties on roads, inner streets, when you just decide to do naming ceremony or weddings or what sorts of parties. It's the equivalent of this. You're inconveniencing neighbors, obstructing traffic, and all of that. So the gentleman, it was a nice exchange to, talk and, try and find a balance. But I would say it's up to law enforcement if the FRSC.
Not just, so which bodies?
And Nigerian police
EFCDA.
and, all relevant agencies and stakeholders, they should do something about
But the civil service...
but they seem to turn a blind eye.
So the FCT minister had come out strongly to say no more open grazing. The pastoralists and the like should ensure that they do not bring their cows to the express routes and so on. This was made clear. But the problem has always been ensuring that the implementation is done 100%. And I think with this video, this footage, if you go to Abuja regularly, you'll find this. I mean, I've seen it too.
I mean, it's almost like part of the tourist attraction. Yeah.
Benga, yes. Call it a tourist attraction.
I mean, people are fascinated when they see, especially tourists, and even we Lagosians when they go to.
The time I saw it, I made video. I'm like, wow, special citizens.
Because it's a rare sight.
So there you have it. But then again,
well, in Lagos, what we used to have then on the island is horses. Around
horses, yeah. But the horses are no
longer there.
They're no longer there.
One day I once had an accident because of horse.
So the accidents are usually...
I think it's because of coastal road.
Usually brutal. No, not that. I think they went extinct. They became extinct, especially within the island.
Because people are struggling to eat. Horse?
They had to move their migration. No food. How
does your horse eat oha and isiu?
How can a horse eat afang?
So I don't understand Olive's point of view. Their food is abundant now. Is it not grass? Grass and dustbin.
Just like cows, they need to be taken care of. But let's see what Nigerians are saying about this altercation between the driver and, of course, the herdsman, making it clear that, listen, Abraham Omolewa says, I'm actually surprised at how educated he sounds. That's actually nice. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ezekiel says, I remember the first time I saw this in Abuja, my God, I was so ashamed. Throughout the city, these things roam around. I mean, these are the same people that travel to Saudi Arabia. No. Is that how cows roam around in highways? And that's a typically important question. We tolerate a lot in this country, so says our protagonists. Okay? Olabanji Karim says, heading in the city doesn't look good, though, but watch the quoted video from 1 minute, 12 seconds. You would understand the header's plight, too. I wonder what his plight is.
What plight?
No matter the plight.
Okay, no grazing.
Yeah, no grazing. What is that? But, and again, there's a ministry. We didn't even talk about the new ministry that was formed. Okay. Anyway, David Achegbulu, the caption is a rage bait. Towards the end, he said, clear the bandits from the bush and Fulani will go back there. That's 1 minute, 12 seconds, I believe. They are also victims. He has passed an important message. And we cannot help but ignore this point. This is also true. Open grazing oftentimes is caused as a result of insecurity. Whether you like it or not, any herder would want to actually do the right thing. But then again, we've seen cases where their cows have been killed. Remember what happened, what state was that, if I can remember? We had that conversation here on the program where they said they came and they just killed the cows, the animals, and then they left while also inflicting injuries.
That's also not to forget the fact that there are some of them that are actually the ones that are
destroying farmlands.
That is also another problem.
On how
where you go into
where they would graze.
Yeah, where you go into people's farmland and just ensure that you feed the animals. So it's
the Ministry of Livestock and
Ministry of Livestock.
How far have they gone with their
This is 3 years. The ministry was created not the first year. It was created, I think, the second year of President Tinubu's administration. Second year. This is 2 years now. Have we gotten anything from that ministry? Answer, yes, no. Has there been a clearer path to explain what the ministry has done and what they will do? So it's pretty much like we see a lot of movement, but we don't see a lot of activation.
Just to mention that for those who are in doubt, it's actually illegal. So the Abuja Environmental Protection Board, AEPB, of course, says that by virtue there is litigation, there's laws, or there are laws that govern this. I'm going to read something that Osi Brahima, who is the Abuja Environmental Protection Board director, said. He said his team will henceforth arrest herders in the FCT. He said grazing along the streets of the FCT is illegal. He added that the board had had several meetings with cattle rearing groups in a bid to curb the practice in the city. He said, and I quote, "The laws against grazing of animals in the FCT are quite clear. The extant laws and rules are that you are not allowed to keep animals on your property and you are not allowed to graze animals on the streets of Abuja. Grazing along the airport road is illegal." That is what he said. Now let's talk about the practicality and the reality of what is. And I'll head to YouTube to take a comment from YouTube. We're streaming live, News Central TV live on YouTube. Lilian Oloha says, "Good morning, NC. Do you know that on the road leading to Aso Rock, we always see cows moving around there? At times, they even cause traffic. We have to wait for them." That is what citizens and residents within Abuja are saying. Michael just says,
I like that we respect animal rights in Nigeria. Even though the zebra crossing is meant for human beings and not zebras. We also give cows the right of way.
I see that.
That's good.
I hope people get the sarcasm.
That's good. That's massive.
Michael Zu says, Nyesom Wike banned and boasted that there will be no open grazing in Abuja, but today he has eaten back on his words due to politics of 2027. Trust politicians at your own peril. Nyesom Wike self has collected. Ochodi says, but are there grasses on the express? Come and see them around CBN, and I just...
CBN.
LMAO.
Yeah.
They want to withdraw some money, some cash.
The cow needs some cash.
Cash cow, hence why they call them cash cow. You know, Joe mentioned something about... and it's good that today is Democracy Day and the 3rd anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We always, you know, spotlight certain ministries, give them scorecards, like... Power is always in the forefront.
Livestock.
But these guys, this Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, they've been hiding.
Over 10. What do you score?
You know, they've been, don't mention, we don't even
over
know
10.
Who the minister. I scored them, fair enough, maybe 3.
3 over 10.
What's the 3 for?
What's the
3 just for collecting budgetary allocation every year and defending their budgets at the Senate. E for effort.
Okay.
The Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, like Joe said, is the Nigerian government agency established by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to transform livestock industry into sustainable, globally competitive sector. So to give them a score. You need to know their key mandates and to check if they've delivered on it. So key mandates and initiative. 1, modernizing animal husbandry. Why are you laughing? I like that word, animal husbandry. The ministry drives policies to revive grazing reserves. How many have they done in the last few years? And to transition from pastoralists to ranching, significantly boosting food security. From that footage we saw, they've scored a huge minus because that's definitely not modern.
And from the comments too.
National Livestock Growth Acceleration Strategy. Have they done that? Quality assurance and safety. New Central crew were in Brazil earlier this year too.
All right.
And, you know, global livestock farmers came around, and veterinarians, the scientists, for global best practices. Maybe we should send them the report for 2026. They might want to implement that.
We'll just wrap this
The
up.
ministry is led by Honorable Minister Alhaji Idi Mukhtar Meha.
All right. Let's wrap this up by reminding you again that hours after the swearing in of the Minister of the FCT, he did make some strong statements. I'm going to cap that up in 30 seconds. He says, we will consult with the herdsmen to see how we will stop open grazing because we cannot allow cows inside the city. They can be outside the city because the grasses are outside the city. The grasses in the city were planted to beautify the city. It is not that one that they would eat. So we will discuss. It is important. And then he goes on to, I mean, there are other things that he says. So again, just a reminder that there were promises made in that regard. But let's move on to a very sad update regarding the kidnapping. Some parents of the abducted school children and teachers in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, have launched an emotional appeal for urgent government and security intervention. The parents made the appeal in an emotional video that went viral on Thursday, with the parents pleading for the safe release of their children. The victims were seized during a tragic attack on May 15, 2026, across 3 communities in the Orire local government area. Devastating incidents which targeted the Baptist Nursery and Primary School Yawota, Community Grammar School Esiele, and LA Primary School has left families panicked and grieving. Following the outrage that has trailed this recent insecurity situation in the country, the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom has alleged that about 30,000 armed militants are operating across Nigeria in groups ranging from 10 to 1,000 members. The May 2026 report, titled Non-State Violators of Religious Freedom in Nigeria, Fulani militants, stated that the militants have become some of the deadliest non-state actors driving religious freedom violations in Nigeria. Let's take a look at this. This is, of course, the United States Commission, but let's take a look at the video of the parents appealing to the government.
Láàárọ̀ a wẹ̀ fún àwọn ọmọ wa wọ́n lọ sí school ìkan bí aago 9 kọjá a rí àwọn ènìyàn lóòótọ́ wọ́n wọṣọ bí àmì àwa ń sọ pé àlejò wo lọ́wọ́ lúyáwọ́ta ká tó sọ báyìí àti gbòòrò ń bọ́n kálukú wa fọ́n ká kò sẹ́ni kankan láàráǹdì mọ́ rírí tí ń rí báyìí mo rí ọmọ mi ọmọ ọdún 8 Káúsárà Kẹ́hìndé Káúsárà lórúkọ rẹ̀ jọ́ọ̀bù ni mo ṣe wà lẹ́yìn ẹ dákun ẹ ràn wá lọ́wọ́ àlejò ni wà à ń bẹ̀ ń jọba ni wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ a sọ pé wọn ò ṣiṣẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n a fi ọmọ wa láàyè ẹ dákun ẹ gbà wá èmi ni bàbá ọmọ èmi ni ìyá ọmọ ẹ dákun kò sí òbí rẹ̀ kankan bí èmi gangan yìí lẹ́nì kankan àgbàṣe ni mo ṣe wà.
And that is the sad reality of what Nigerian parents are experiencing at the moment. We just concluded celebration of Children's Day. We have children that are still in the bush. We're not quite sure of their whereabouts. And the parents have to make an emotional appeal, an emotional video for the government to do what it's meant to do. The children should not have been kidnapped in the first place. Now they've unfortunately been kidnapped. What is the update? We had the commissioner join us here, or a member of Nigerian police. I can't remember now. Which of them? The DSP, thank you.
We have spokesperson or your state police command.
Right. And I remember asking him, I said, are we having daily communication with the parents to let them know what is being done so that they can at least have something to hold on to, some hope, to see that the government and law enforcement agents are working in that regard? He said yes, but I mean, from that video, it doesn't look like it. Let's quickly see what Nigerians are saying on X.
Let's see what the Ministry of Education did.
Great.
So what happened was, after these incidents took place, Nigerians were expecting that the Ministry of Education would quickly speak up. But look at when they spoke up. They spoke up on the 27th of May.
On Children's Day.
2026.
They were waiting
and this is what they said.
together.
Federal government condemns abduction of students, vows safe return of all children. The Federal Ministry of Education has condemned the abduction of students in, of course, they mentioned everywhere where it happened. The Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunja Lausa, CON, stated that attacks on schools and students are attacks on Nigeria's future and assured that the federal government is working closely with security agencies to ensure the safe return of all abducted children. But this is not just the statement that was made. How did Nigerians receive this statement? And what do we make of the fact that it took days before the ministry overseeing education and by extension even students and children did not do PIM, kept mute up until Children's Day to affirm what had been confirmed even by the state governor and the federal government. But let's see how Nigerians reacted to the ministry's press release before we also see how Nigerians reacted to the parents there. The first reaction there, Selfless Duke says, failed institution, failed state, failed government. He says, it took complaints from every angle before you could finally release a statement after several days. So has that statement brought the children back home now? He's asking. Another one says, Optimist Prime says, this government is everything wrong with Nigeria. So you mean to say you just heard about this? They're talking about the Ministry of Education. This is horrible. Can you guys please vacate that seat for someone more competent? And another tweet, Beatcon says, you waited for a week before posting this. Una no serious at all. So says Beatcon. And then Call Me MBJ says, 13 days later. And the best you can do is a press release.
Oh, wow.
No child rescued. No ransom contact confirmed. 2 teachers dead. Actually, yes, 2. A toddler still missing. And the ministry finds time to talk about surveillance policies and emergency response frameworks.
What is emergency about that?
That clearly don't exist. The Chibok girls are still missing. That happened. Now this. Same cycle, same statement, same nothing. No child should face fear in pursuit of education. Tell that to the 2-year-olds taken from Borno. Tell that to the families in Oyo who buried a teacher and are still waiting for news. Children's Day came and went. Where was the energy? Where was this energy then? And Omo, how do these people sleep at night without their children being by their side? Talking about the mothers who made that video. And another one says, honestly, this country is tiring. They are busy preparing for election and not even paying attention to what is happening to their people. So sad. And today is them. Tomorrow it could be you. Let's speak with one voice. So says Panda Box. And another day to remind us that our government really do not care so long it's not their children. These politicians do not give a cent. Stevenson says. Very, very sad situation.
And Rich says, for a country that is not officially at war, and this is on YouTube, hardly a day passes without news of banditry. Sadly, we have lost almost our capacity to be shocked as these horrors come with frightening regularity.
And that's the sad reality.
That's the sad reality.
Yeah, the fact that people are becoming desensitized to this, really sad. Keep the comments coming on YouTube. We'll come back, but let's quickly share with you what our top stories are. But let's go on a very quick break.
Insecurity remains one of the biggest concerns for Nigerians nationwide. From deadly attacks in Plateau and Benue states to recurring kidnappings in the northwest, several communities have continued to suffer losses despite intensified military operations. News Central's Victor Mbadike takes a cursory look yet again at the issues.
Not the kind of visit I wanted.
As President Tinubu marks his 3rd anniversary in office, attention once again shifts to Nigeria's persistent security challenges across multiple fronts. The figures tell a troubling story that has not gone away. Many Nigerians have continued to pay the ultimate price, while the promise to secure lives and property is still waiting to fully show up.
We have no choice but to turn this country into a nation of prosperity, unity. Fight our enemies together, not fight each other now.
It was impossible.
Sadly, even the much-discussed support from the United States has not translated into any noticeable difference on the ground.
We all know what it is. It's not like before. It's getting worse every day by day. Even right in front of people's house, they got kidnapped, and a lot is happening in the country right now.
Because most of these people that perpetrate these the crimes, they are not ghosts. People know them, especially when you go to the north. You hear of bandits moving in trucks and bikes, and people see them.
So it's very, very depressing. I don't think it has improved.
The staggering figures across almost all geopolitical zones lend credence to this reality. Over 2,000 persons reportedly killed nationwide, hundreds abducted across several states, thousands displaced from affected communities.
I'm making this video to ask for help from everyone, starting from the federal government of Nigeria.
This graphic representation summarizes the traumatic experiences these regions and communities had gone through since the last Democracy Day in 2025.
You guys did very well, is that clear?
Yes, sir!
However, the military has carried out coordinated air and ground assaults under operations such as Operation Hardin-Kai, Operation Fansanyama, Operation Wild Stroke, and Operation Delta Save. These operations targeted Boko Haram, ISWAP, bandit camps, and kidnapping networks. Yet, the challenges persist as though they never left.
Right now, President Tinubu needs to ensure that our defense and security spending is well vetted. 1, 2, we have to ensure that our challenges are dealt with local solutions. We have to look at what can we utilize based on our unique peculiarities. The non-kinetic approaches should not be hinged on negotiating with bandits from a position of weakness. It should be from a position of strength. And lastly, non-kinetic approaches involves creation of jobs, provision of healthcare, and education in communities who do not have this.
All of this has to be financed, and that, by the time you have put so much into that, you believe we'll spend so much. For as long as the problem is still there, what it consumes mainly is money, and some of it are expendables. There are things, once it's spent, is spent.
The Nigerian police force, despite its efforts in maintaining law and order, continues to face criticism over its conduct.
The Nigerian police force cannot secure this nation alone. Security is a collective enterprise. We need the trust, cooperation, and the active partnership of the Nigerian people, and we are committed to handling it.
The alleged extrajudicial killing of a young man, Ogene Mene, in Delta State in April 2026, involving a dismissed police officer and others who were also relieved of their duties, has further deepened public distrust. Perhaps the real question is no longer when insecurity will end, but why it has become so deeply rooted that even with growing concerns, kidnapping now feels woven into daily life like a thriving enterprise. In Lagos, for News Central, Victor Badige.
Joining us this morning to unpack this conversation is former Minister of Youth and Sports, Comrade Solomon Dalong. One welcome to you, Comrade Dalong, and thanks for joining us this morning, and happy Democracy Day to you.
Well, happy former Democracy Day.
Former Democracy, yes.
Well, thank you very much. I think happy return to civilian rule.
Okay. Now let's start with this. 3 years after subsidy removal, Nigerians are still feeling intense economic pressure. From your own perspective, how would you rate this administration on its third year anniversary? Has it done enough to justify the hardship citizens are experiencing? Has it turned the corner?
I think 3 years is 3 years of monumental failure and incompetence. And, 3 years of untold hardship, trauma, hunger, poverty for Nigerians. In the history of this country, the citizens of the geographical entity known as Nigeria had never had it this terrible. And I wish these 3 years will never exist on the calendar of our history as a nation. Nothing had actually happened. The only progress we have recorded is the rhetorics of government about governance and how to deal with national challenges like security, the management of the economy, unemployment, social challenges, infrastructural development. So these years has been so traumatic to me as a person, and I believe most Nigerians feel the same.
Okay. We just reeled out one of our, detailed documentaries looking at insecurity in the past 3 years. The numbers are not in any way encouraging, especially with the recent happenings that took place in Oyo State. We also had other parts of the country, and it's not looking really good. But then again, experts are of the belief that very soon everything will be settled. What's your take on the current situation of insecurity the past 3 years?
These our experts should be more honest, objective, and sincere in the assurances being rolled out to Nigerians. Because this soon should also be defined. Soon as to when. Because even in the past 3 years, we kept rehearsing the same statements of government rolling out assurances at every turn of events. And the more they make those assurances, the more it becomes difficult for Nigerians. I think the experts should be more patriotic enough to deal with this issue. But let me come to this issue of insecurity. I think the last incident which has been so graphic on my mind and has ruptured my emotions is the death of M.O. Oyedetun, the teacher who faced death with courage and dignity, pronouncing his name and proudly his profession as a teacher. And at that situation, he did not even pretend it. He identified his community before he faced the brutal situation which led to ending his life. And as we're talking, young school children are in captivity for many days. Now, let's use this as a symbol of the Nigerian security situation. The teacher symbolizes the predicament of Nigerians. They can be kidnapped anywhere, and that criminals could just behead citizens with impunity, and nothing happens. This same government can track me now if they feel the opinions I'm expressing does not support their cause. They can track me and pick me up. But that this same government cannot track criminals in the forest. to arrest them, to eliminate them, to bring them under control. I mean, what are we actually talking about? We're not talking about our servicemen that have lost their lives. We're not talking about the enlarged population of widows of servicemen that are spread all over the country. We're not talking about the number of Nigerians in captivity, Christians that were kidnapped in churches, Muslims that were killed and kidnapped in their mosques, Nigerians on their farms, Nigerians traveling, youth corpers. I mean, which segment of the country is spared by these criminals? And can we admit that we are now ruled by these criminals? Otherwise, why would this government fail to satisfy the basic requirement of our constitution, which says the responsibility of the government, the better responsibility of government is the protection of lives and property. So I think this government has spent so much on security, and the more they spend, the more Nigerians are killed, the more Nigerians are kidnapped, the more Nigerians are even displaced in their homes. Like in my home state here, Plateau, thousands, if not millions, have been displaced from their ancestral homes. They are living in makeshift arrangements. Sometimes it's even not safe to travel on the plateau because you will run into an army of a displaced community that is so bitter and angry, carrying their luggages on their heads, and they will attack you. Because anybody they now see on the highway is perceived to be in government that has failed to protect them. So I think we're in a very terrible security situation, and the government has no political will to deal with it. They lack the political will to deal with this situation. Otherwise, this problem is not insurmountable. The Nigerian security architecture can deal with this if there is a political will. It has been done in the past. Yaradua, who was not even a soldier, dealt with it. Obasanjo dealt with it. The same military that went to restore peace in other places in the world cannot give Nigeria peace.
Okay.
I mean, what situation is this?
Comrade Alonga, I'd like us to still stay on security for a bit. In your response earlier, you made a number of statements. You said that the current government has spent so much on security, yet more lives are being lost, more people are being kidnapped. You also said you wondered why the terrorists are able to kill because you made reference to impunity. You also did mention that the current administration can track you if they're not pleased with what you've said, yet they're unable to track the terrorists. Are you explicitly stating that the government deliberately does not want to fight insecurity? I know you mentioned political will, and every time we hear that phrase being bandied around, political will, what does that look like? And are you directly saying the government has the capacity to stop the insecurity in our country or has overtly refused to stop insecurity?
I sincerely believe that the Nigerian government has the capacity to deal with this insecurity. But the political will we kept referring to means having a leader in place that lacks the capacity and the courage to deal with a situation. So if the government, which has the resources, because looking at the security budget, well, we cannot pretend that the resources are not there. And then looking at our military, their track records and performances elsewhere, I still believe that they can deal with the situation. But you see, we have a commander-in-chief who is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The security, the military, does not act until they are moved by a command. And we've been able to witness political will under Yar'Adua when he was on his way to Japan and was told that Boko Haram has attacked and burned down 5 police station in Maiduguri. And he said to the service chief, before I return, I want you to crush this insurgency. And that was a command. And before he could return, they crushed it. Obasanjo in 2004, when Boko Haram took over 2 local governments in Yobe, he told the service chief, if you cannot crush this insurgency in 48 hours, can I have my uniform? And in 48 hours, the military recovered these 2 local governments from the terrorists. Can we have a president given a command to the military so that we can now relocate our assessment whether the military is ill-equipped or has been unable to deal with the situation? So the gap between the action of the military and the president is what is called lack of political will.
Now, Comrade Dalong, they always say no country is an island and the world works in Committee of Nations. And we decided last year that we can't do this alone. So the government decided to go into partnership with the United States of America. And for the first time in the history of Nigeria, on Christmas Day, the United States military, in coordination with the Nigerian military, did carry out attacks, and in recent times they carried out attacks against terrorist elements. Would you say, what's your assessment of this partnership, and would you say it's yielded the much desired fruits and results?
The partnership between Nigeria and America is, in the first place, not necessary and undesirable. But of course, we found ourselves in it. I think the only achievement that has been recorded by this partnership is the firing of American bombs into the desert in December. That is the greatest achievement. And our villagers went and saw them. They took pictures on the exploded bombs. I think that is the greatest achievement. But if there is anything out of it, it's zero. Rather, maybe their presence has also emboldened the terrorists more than before, because with the coming of the Americans, Boko Haram in the northeast that seems to have been disseminated, now there was an emergence, the resurgence of Boko Haram. The bombings resumed again, attack and killing of security officers. In fact, within an operation, they killed like 4 brigade commanders. So all this happened under the watch of the Americans. Now, these same Americans that we know that tracked Osama bin Laden and eliminated him, these same Americans that we know that have gone to Afghanistan to remove a government, this same American that has gone to Iraq to remove a government, and have performed wonderfully and dealt with terrorists all over the world, now will come to Nigeria and it will be a celebration for terrorists. They are now so emboldened that they are kidnapping Nigerians every now and then. So I think this partnership, we have not been told the truth of the partnership. Is it partnership on security or on any other thing else? But if it is for security, the benefits are nowhere to be found, and I don't imagine that there is anything we have benefited from it, rather watching American soldiers displaying their uniforms and their aircraft landing and taking off. But the terrorists are still there, and they are wreaking havoc on Nigerians unabatedly. So the partnership, to me, has not benefited Nigerians yet. Maybe we will need to go to put it in prayers and maybe speak in tongues before we can see the benefit of the partnership.
Now, just to follow up, Comrade, what would you recommend, since you believe that, this partnership is not yielding the much desired result? What would it take to fix Nigeria's terrible security situation? We're the fourth most terrorized country in the world, according to data from the World Terrorism Index as we speak, 2026.
We have the highest number of unemployed youth roaming our streets. Number one, the government should embark on massive recruitment of Nigerians. I mean, massive young people recruitment into the military. And this recruitment I'm referring to, I'm not saying that we should embark on massive issuance of letters from the members of the National Assembly to all recruitment centers to mob their villages of renegade elements into the military. No, there should be a very credible recruitment processes of Nigerians into the security services. And this recruitment should be based on merit. We need more boots on the ground. And then government should also ensure the procurement of modern equipment, drones, tracking devices, to be able to train these young people to deal with the situation. We don't need anybody from anywhere to help us. I mean, countries like Burkina Faso facing very terrible terrorist attacks have been able to put their feet on the ground, stamp their feet on the ground, to give these people a good fight. So we need to do that. The president should assume his responsibility as the commander-in-chief, and he should de-emphasize distraction which he has generated by politicizing the governance, weaponizing governance for 2027. Should concentrate and deal with this situation. And I think if this is done sincerely, we will have devices, we will have equipment, we will be able to track these terrorists. I mean, contemporary warfare is not even on based on this shameless argument they kept pretending that, oh, the terrorists are living in forests that are inaccessible. I mean, you can go and tell that to the Marines. You don't even need to get there to deal with the situation. So if this is done, we'll have a better approach to it. Secondly, the government should engage and empower traditional institutions. Nigeria is a cultural society. Most of these local communities were not conquered communities. They fought battles of dominance and control of their environment. They have a better knowledge of where they live. They know those areas more than anybody. So they should be engaged. There should be a partnership between the local people and the military. There is a very poor relationship between our servicemen and communities. And that's why you are hearing allegations every day against the military or servicemen. There should be a better relationship. There should be better communication and engagement of the community so that a strong partnership is forged and intelligence gathering, generating confidence is built to deal with this situation. And I think if we go this way, we will deal with it better. And the Americans should thank them and please, they should excuse us to deal with our peculiar situation.
Okay. I mean, so far so good. We've liked how this conversation is going. And we also feel that as we look to wrap up, there can also be takeaway, like positives. Can you share with us some of the things you think and believe that this government has done well? Because we cannot say you must score the government a zero in all aspects or ramifications. What do you think the government has done well? and can improve to do better? Because in school, when we look at the report cards, we see at least maybe A, B, C, the teachers would write, can improve here. So what do you think the government, this current administration, can do better? And what have they done that you think they've done well?
Well, to be fair to the president, I think he has good intention for local government autonomy, but again, he lacked the approach, a better approach to deal with the situation. So the case he took to the Supreme Court and the judgment has not, the benefits have not trickled down to the local government. And if the local government got their autonomy, I mean, some of these problems would have been solved. So I scored the government fairly average on that. I also think that the positive can better be seen in how the president and his officials have been able to transform themselves. They are looking much better and stronger than Nigerians than they were in 2023. So that is also positive to their personal well-being. As to their management of the economy, I don't think they have performed not too good. It's quite poor. If I look at security, I will score them maybe 10% because of their intention from what they say, but they fell there woefully. And I will give them 100% for the mismanagement of the political environment. I will give them 100% for campaigning for 2027. I will give them also 100% for, destruction of the political parties in Nigeria. I will give them also 100% for the mismanagement of budget in Nigeria, because for 3 years they are still running the same 3 budgets concurrently. This is my opinion about them. And I think the president also has done very well in purchasing aircraft for the new Airbus for the president. He has also bought a Cadillac. He has renovated so many presidential palaces. So these are also positive for this government. But on the overall, the government can be scored as, well, they got 15% from me in 3 years.
Well, we'll take it to be that is your look into the 3 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But thank you so much for joining us, Honorable Solomon Delong. We look forward to hear from you again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you sincerely for the great things you are doing. Let's continue to encourage Nigerians and support the country to be a better place for all of us. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. We've got a quick break. When we come back, we'll have another conversation. Don't forget that today is May 29. Aside that, we're also looking into some of the biggest stories as well. So do well to stay with us. Breakfast Central continues shortly.
The Lagos State government has unveiled a new tenancy bill designed to regulate rent hikes, agency fees, and the activities of estate agents. Housing in Lagos has long been a pressure point, as tenants often face demands for 2 or 3 years' rent upfront. Agents charge exorbitant fees, and fraudulent practices have left many families stranded. This new bill seeks to address these issues head-on by capping advance rent collection, limiting agency fees, mandating registration of agents, and introducing stricter penalties for violations.
Beyond rent and fees, the bill also proposes faster dispute resolution through special tenancy courts, even on weekends and public holidays. It's a bold attempt to balance the interests of landlords, tenants, and agents in one of Africa's most dynamic property markets. But the big question remains, will this bill truly protect tenants, or will it create new loopholes and challenges?
Well, joining us for this conversation, we do have Principal Attorney at Advocate Pupuli law firm, Peter Ekwavo Esquire, who joins us live in the studios as well. We're looking also to have partner legal Dominique Nathaniel Ojobo as well. Thank you so much, Nathaniel, for being here. And the other guests will join us. But before we come to this conversation on the rent, let's quickly speak with our correspondent who is live in Borno State. Umaru Kirawa joins us this morning. Umaru, good morning. May 29 is the day. Can you tell us what the people of Borno State are doing currently and what is really happening down there?
Well, the people of Borno State, like other people across the country, you know, Salah is not yet over until it's over. So people are busy eating the meat, sharing the meat, and of course, celebrating the Eid. You know, it's May 29, it's the former or the previous Democracy Day for Nigeria. So celebration in that direction, it's known for now. But people are busy celebrating the Eid. That is what is happening currently in Borno State with the improving security situation.
Okay, everyone's celebrating the Eid, but just to get a sense of how things are, we know that there's also been the high cost of living that different parts of the country have had to deal with. You know, how have the citizens in Borno State been able to adjust to the high cost of living, especially during Eid, where they needed to buy ram, you know, to celebrate with family, friends, and loved ones?
Well, it's a thing of if you have, you have. If you don't have, you don't have. And purely that is just it. And those that have tried to support those that don't have. And that has been the celebrated here with regard to the economic realities. And of course, you know, people here have gone through difficult times of years of insurgency. Though the insurgency is not yet over, but they are still struggling to survive and meet up with the daily needs of survival. And, you know, it's just something that people have to go through it day in, day out.
Okay, Umar Kirawa, one of the major conversations that Nigerians have had has got to do with low-income housing. And that would also form the crux of our conversation in the studios here. But let me ask you quickly, what's the rent like in Borno State? Are people paying through their nose? Are they struggling to pay the rent? Is it difficult? Just give us an overview of what the rent situation is like in Borno State before we come back to the studio and speak on it concerning Lagos State.
Well, it's a difficult time, you know, just like you've suggested. I mean, people, if there is something bigger than the nose, people are paying through that axis because of the economic reality. And of course, you know, like I've said, people are recovering from years of insurgency. It's a difficult one. But, you know, some are being supported by the government because we've seen houses provided by the government to resettle displaced persons. But by and large, you know, the larger chunk of the population, civil servants, people doing businesses, low-income earners, go through very difficult times in terms of paying rent and, of course, trying to survive the difficult times of the economic realities in Nigeria's political family.
So is the rent higher there? Can we say it's higher? Has it increased exponentially? Is it something that has remained the same? Better still, are people able to afford the rent from?
Well, I would say it has increased in a geometrical progression because anyway, I don't want to talk about myself, but the rent situation here in Borno too is a very difficult one. Honestly, people are going through a very difficult time, and it calls for introspection. And of course, if there is need for regulation, I mean, the government needs to step in because of how people are going through the difficult times of recovering from years of insurgency and many other difficulties that people go through here.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark Kirawa, for joining us. We look forward to connecting with you again. Now, seeing as we're still speaking about rent and the new tenancy laws in Lagos State, let's bring it back into the studio. We're having a conversation with partner legal Dominique Nathaniel Ojobo, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. My pleasure, as always.
Okay, so there's a new law, a new tenancy bill that's been proposed to prevent certain malpractices by Lagos landlords as well as agents, and one of such is the insistence on collection of rent beyond a year. The question is, the previous tenancy laws, did it not cover this as well?
Just before I answer the question, I think I found the comment of the correspondent from Borno quite interesting. I have family in the north. I have a background in the north. As I speak to you, I still have a mother and siblings in the north, in Adamawa State particularly.
Oh, okay.
And if Northerners are complaining with what I know about house rent in the north, if Northerners are complaining that rent in the north is a big deal and that they are paying more than through their noses, then imagine what the situation would be for people in places like Lagos. Of course, the economic disparities in both locations in Nigeria is manifest. However, coming back to the question, you are apt when you say the current tenancy law, being the tenancy law of Lagos State 2011, enacted in 2011, provides for these things. What we now have by virtue of this bill is perhaps an improvement on what used to be. You are not amiss when you, of course, have said that the current tenancy law applicable in Lagos captures or takes care of issues of landlords not demanding, and not just landlords, but tenants not also paying.
Offering.
Yes, not also paying or agreeing to pay a rent, that is for yearly tenants, in excess of 1 year. As a matter of fact, it's a criminal offense, such that if you go ahead as a landlord to make any such demand, or as a tenant you propose to pay or actually now comply with any such demand from a landlord, you are liable to pay a fine of 100,000 naira, or in the alternative, if you are not able to pay that fine, you must spend 3 months in jail. This is the position of the law as it were. But as always, peculiar to the Nigerian society, we have a mismatch in legal provisions which are in existence and having executive willpower, or the existence of executive willpower to implement these legal provisions. And so for me, which is of course one of the things I am looking at or as one of the areas that the State Assembly, the State House of Assembly of Lagos State will consider as part of its objectives in this new law, is to not just make provisions without putting up or setting up mechanisms by which these provisions will be executed.
For enforcement.
Say again?
Mechanisms for enforcement.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, it is my proposal that a commission or an agency will be set up to ensure that if tenants have any such situation, where they are beginning to have all of these issues as we are analyzing today, they can easily walk into the commission, or perhaps because we are in a technology-driven age, they send, maybe through an app or something, their complaints. The commission or the agency goes ahead to see how to, verify all of these allegations. And if true, the commission takes up an action against the offending landlord or tenant as it were. But what we have is a law without the relevant willpower, to execute these laws. More like a barking dog that cannot bite. So that is the problem we have in this country. It is known in actual fact that, and I keep saying this wherever I go, it is known in actual fact that Nigeria is one country that has a plethora of laws. As a matter of fact, if you rank Nigeria amongst the Committee of Nations in the world, Nigeria has some of the best laws there are. In fact, we have not even, as lawyers, we have not even unraveled the totality of laws we have in existence, right? Usually it is when an issue arises that you begin to realize that, oh, there's a law for this and there's a law for this. Do you know that as we have, or as we are today in Nigeria, there's a law that prevents smoking of cigarettes, not even weed, smoking of cigarettes in public. It's a criminal offense. I wrote an article on that sometime in 2019. It is.
This is coming to me as a shock.
Oh, yes. But I would also give you a shocking information too. Not too long ago, I think that was sometime last year, I was in a police station somewhere here in Lagos State, and I was trying to address an issue with some of the police officers. And I found a police officer by the corner smoking. Oh. This is a police officer who ought to be executing or enforcing that law that says smoking of cigarettes in public is a criminal offense.
That is if he's even aware of the existence of such a law.
So those are the issues. Those are the issues. We have laws to take care of literally any social ill or social malady. But what we are missing out on is the ability to enforce these laws.
Nathaniel.
And that still brings us back home to the point of discussion this morning.
I'm told we have our next guest in Abuja, but maybe this before I forget, so our producers are here, we can register it. Maybe we might have to create a special 15 minutes space on Breakfast Central where we call it Know Your Law. And we can have Nathaniel join us to help us.
I'm happy as always. This is what we do.
I'm serious about this.
This is what we do.
Know your law, because especially starting with the one on smoking, so that Nigerians can understand the advocacy and what is actually involved.
Yeah.
But we're joined by our next guest. We're told he's joining from our Abuja studios. Peter Eklavo, if you're there. I know you've spoken about this before, if I could recall, but one of the things that I'm looking forward to to see in the new law is the fact that Lagos State is saying that agency fees will no longer be 10%. I am a victim. I've been looking for accommodation for the past 7 months. In short, I think the agents and the landowners are 10 steps ahead. Because what is happening now is, if they don't take the 10% agency agreement, 10% legal, 10% service charge, they don't have a new one, which is called, it's service charge.
No, there's caution fee.
Caution fee, yes, sorry.
10%
caution fee, 10% legal, 10% agency
some
fee.
Some agents, so this is capping agency between 5 to 10%, because some agents actually ask for 20%.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Some now have gone steps and they say, oh, it's 15%. But can you speak to us as concerning the possibility of reviewing that 10% to 5%? And agents must be registered. What are the provisions and what do you make of it?
For having me. Those provisions are in the bill currently before the Lagos State House of Assembly. It provides for 5% actually for agents, and then on the agreement of parties, it also provides for. There's no provision for caution fees, but there's provision for service charge. But you have to agree, and then the landlord must account for how those funds are used. I mean the service charge. And then there's also the provision that such agent must be registered with Lagos State Real Estate LASRA. So those are innovative provisions which will help to bring down the cost of renting houses in Lagos. Yes, those provisions are there.
Now, staying with you, Peter, LASRA, the Lagos State Real Estate Authority, it was established to protect tenants from fraudulent agents. Report shows that from 2025 to 2026, they recovered 270 million naira. Can this agency realistically monitor hundreds of thousands of agents across the vast area of Lagos? And sometimes, what do you do about tenants that sometimes just, I'd rather pay than deal with all these troubles, and I don't want to cause issues with my landlord?
Yes, so that's just the problem. So the answer to your first question is that we can digitalize the process, and then we can put all the names of the agents who are registered on a database, such that with the click of a button, we can know who is registered and who is not registered. So we can use technology to monitor that. Then you spoke also to the very thorny issues, which is the fact that there's no enough housing, in the country, in Lagos State. So these laws, as good as they are, they might just be like a mirage. Because at the end of the day, the man is looking for a house. I mean, he has seen one. The stress of looking for a house in Lagos, for example. I have seen one. You want to start, talking law and say you must do this, you must do this, But then we must commend the Lagos State House of Assembly. This is innovative, as a way of, because a lot of people have been fleeced of their money in the process of trying to rent accommodation. So it is a good thing that they are trying to make this process work. But as it were, the bill actually provides that it is an offense, punishable for you to pay more than what is prescribed there, or for you to receive what is prescribed there. So, but the question is, so it's supposed to be like a self-enforcing law in which the tenant is supposed to report to say, I came to this place, this landlord charged me more than what is provided for in the law. But if you do that, I believe you will know the consequence. If you do that, and with time, everyone now knows that you're a troublesome tenant who goes about reporting landlords.
Exactly.
And
the question is,
trouble. Nobody will rent a house for you in Lagos, so then you're in trouble.
Exactly.
So
that forms the first enforcement challenge that we're going to see. I'll bring it back to the studio to ask Nathaniel as well what the enforcement challenges we're going to see from this are to ensure that, because we already have an existing tenancy law, let's not have a repeat that just feels like we're paying lip service to actually protecting the rights of tenants. So what enforcement challenges do you foresee, Nathaniel? And, you know, I'm bringing it back into the studio to talk to you about how you think. He's mentioned one point. If you go and report to the landlords, before you know what goes around, they say, don't rent your property to her. She's a troublesome person. What other challenges do you foresee that these tenancy laws will present?
So I think what we have, or what my colleague from Abuja has mentioned, basically lies at the heart of the matter in terms of challenges. What I also foresee is a situation where I am not sure. I mean, it's happened. It's happened, and I would like to believe it can also happen now. But again, another challenge is the promptitude with which LASRERA, Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Agency, the promptitude with which they will then gather data of agents. Because, of course, what this portends by the time that bill becomes a law is that anybody who puts himself or herself out as an agent and that is not registered with LASRERA becomes a criminal. You are liable. Well, let's not say become a criminal, because, of course, you will need a court pronouncement to make such a person a criminal.
Yes.
You're operating outside.
Exactly. The person now becomes liable to being prosecuted for a criminal offense. That is what it portends. So for me, another challenge is what I have just highlighted now. The fact of how they will be able to gather this data as quickly as possible to ensure that we have licensed and registered agents. Again, it brings us back to the issue of, because as we know, I'm sorry to say this, but then what needs to be said needs to be said. Absolutely. How much would, because of course we know that once it comes to registration, licensing with government agencies, especially in this Lagos, so much is demanded in terms of financial fees or fees payable to the government.
It's almost like a revenue generating.
Exactly, but as much as it would be, I think consideration should be had to what the real essence behind this law is. Mm-hmm. It is not primarily to create revenue for government.
Yeah.
What fee or what amount would government, through LASRERA, then peg as the registration fee for all such agents? Knowing that these agents, most of them are into this agency business, not necessarily because they like it, it's just a side revenue for them.
Yeah.
And then, for example, you are asking one agent to come and pay, for example, 500,000, #1 million naira as registration fee with LASRERA. It's undoable.
I think
there's another part to it that we should talk about. When you are, I mean, Johnson, you've been on the street in terms of house
inspecting,
and I'm joining you as teams for other reasons. You want to check a house. The part of your rent, you use a huge chunk of your rent to go house hunting.
Consultation and the likes.
To be
for houses that you don't even like.
You've already told the agent what you want. They'll take you to a house that does not fit your specification. And then they'll tell you
to
pay
justify the amount you have paid to them.
10,000, 10,000.
20,
By the time you see 5 properties, you've paid almost between 50 to 100,000.
It's called
how about doing these things online?
That is what it is tagged.
Inspection fee. They call it inspection.
How about checking online?
Online, you still pay inspection because you call the number. Person will tell
you see what you like online.
No. Online is not different.
So the truth is,
what are ordered versus what are
exactly. So
you see Lekki, but you end up in
exactly. Exactly.
We'll go on a very quick break. We will come back to continue this conversation about the implementation of this new tenancy law or the tenancy bill, how fast it will become law and the implementation of same, and how you as a tenant or even a landlord can stay protected. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're taking a look at Lagos State and the new tenancy law. We do have a very, very interesting lawyers joining us here this morning. The conversation is focused on how the new tenancy rent law, name it whichever way, will affect you, and how it's the bill, I beg your pardon, a new tenancy bill is going to affect you and more. I was actually caught by the point made on the bill here. It talks about weekend sit-ins. To fast-track justice, the government is introducing special weekend and public holiday court sittings specifically for tenants and landlord disputes. So it means there's no running. You cannot run, you cannot hide. Public holiday, you have to go to court if the court is open and ready for you.
But the reality that again stares us in the face is, even with the current situation where we have weekday sittings, Mondays to Fridays, outside of public holidays.
How many have they had?
How many? And then again, we have this perennial problem, the shortfall in the number of judges and magistrates compared to the number of cases. It would interest you to know that, and to be honest, as much as we have some of our judges and magistrates who are not exactly up to par in terms of being hardworking, I can confirm to you that we have most of them who are quite hardworking. A judge or a magistrate would sit in a day, have from about 10 to 20
cases,
matters on tenancy, most of which the judge or magistrate will be required to hear. Wow. One single person sitting from 9 a.m. till about 4 p.m. Sometimes most of them, or some of them even sit beyond 4 p.m. And they are still not able to meet up. So the problem is not really about, I mean, that's an
anomaly. But that's an anomaly. What's the NJC doing about it? NBA?
Well, NBA is not in charge of appointing judges, you know, and all such things. NBA is primarily in charge of the legal community of lawyers. Yeah. And so it brings us back to the point of NJC, as you mentioned. But
you're still stakeholders.
Oh, yes, we are. And we have indeed made advocacy about these things to platforms like the NJC, you know, and then the relevant bodies that are responsible for this. We have asked that, you know, qualitative hands who can man the bench, the judiciary, be deployed into the system. I could even recommend, this point just dropped on me, and I want to recommend that we have not just regular courts handling tenancy matters. We should have a special court, just like we have special criminal courts.
Yeah.
In Lagos State today, we have a special criminal court that handles specific criminal matters of sexual defilement of children, you know, and even adults. We should have such courts specially set up for tenancy matters, and then, of course, magistrates and judges appointed to such special courts so that we can have these matters dealt with promptly. Let me mention, I'm a victim of this because I have a tenancy matter that I'm handling for someone. I filed that matter in December 2024. The tenant had not paid rent a year prior to that time. The tenant still sits in that shop till this moment as I speak, selling, brings a lawyer who comes to court to continue filing frivolous applications.
Wow.
Thereby delaying demand. And of course, the law is that no matter how frivolous an application is, the magistrate or the judge must hear it. Once we are done with that, costs will be awarded against the lawyer and then, of course, his clients. Before we know, they file another one. And we are running a rat race without an end. 2 years down the line, we are still on a tenancy matter. And the tenant is still in the shop, selling, happy. Purportedly or supposedly progressing with his business. So these are the issues. We should have specific courts and quality hands who can man such courts so that, I mean, it's not just about, it's not just about
I'd like to bring
sit during public holidays
Peter
and all of that.
Abuja back into the conversation. Now, Peter, there's also talks about, you know, monthly payment of rent, which is a bit strange to many Nigerians as they're not used to it. Would you also tell us if this tenancy and rent issue, if it's a Lagos-only problem or it's pan-Nigeria, and what will be the best approach to dealing with this?
Housing issue is a general Nigerian problem. But Lagos, we must give it to Lagos. Lagos has been very progressive in enacting laws that respond to various salient issues. Now, this bill, the tenancy bill, is a bit progressive. I will give it to the Lagos State House of Assembly. They have introduced some very salient points that I believe is passed to law. Some other states can also copy to address the issue. It tries to balance the contention between the landlord and the tenant. So, for example, there are provisions, yes, for monthly. That has always been there. This has to do with negotiating with your landlord. If you say, I pay monthly, yes, that's good to go. But I want to highlight some few very salient provisions, progressive provisions that are in the new Tenancy Act. For example, you have provisions such as my colleague in Lagos was trying to talk about the delays that happens with tenancy matters. So in this new bill, they are now providing that you can actually deal with tenancy matter using originating summons. Originating summons is a very fast way of dealing with issues in court. all you need to do by that provision is you file an originating summon, you attach it with affidavit, showing the rent, showing the everything that has to do with the tenancy agreement, and then there's no need for long trial, there's no need for cross-examination, there's no need for object to document. So that's progressive. That's one progressive bill. So that's to the benefit of the landlord who is scared that you can just go to court and keep the property there, you are not paying rent. And even that law, the bill even says that while you are in court, you must continue to pay your rent. It states so very specifically. Therefore, the tenant, there's also a relief. There's a provision that says the landlord can no longer increase rent unreasonably. Although,
but they are all increasing now before the bill becomes law.
Are you there?
What's the definition of unreasonably?
Yes, exactly. So that's where they need to go a deep further. So this program is to also help us to sharpen and point out areas they need to improve. So reasonability is subjective. So, for example, we want the Lagos State Assembly to go further to say, okay, you cannot increase after maybe 5 years. This is the percentage you should go. Those are some of the things we expect them to do. But they have started the conversation. They have started taking some very good steps. Like I said, reasonability, the issue of how the process is taken in court instead of trials. Then we have issues like the rent, the agency fee that we talked about. Then we also talk about virtual hearings. So virtual hearings can now also be conducted specifically, in which case you don't need to come to court to do your cases as it comes to tenancy. You can sit in the comfort of your home, cases are going on, things are going on. Okay. So because we also need to give the landlord some comfort as well as the tenant, so that everyone is, and then there's also the provision that you can also come and break the door of the tenant. You come, it's when you rent, you now go, you want to use illegal means to drive him out or in an oppressive manner. This law said, no, if you do so, you go to jail. So there are a lot of progress that have been made in this bill, and we encourage them to pass it, smoothing the contending areas, and then we are good to go.
All right, we're good to go. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining us, and thank you, Nathaniel, for being here in the studios. Please, gentlemen, open your phone lines. We cannot wait to have Know the Law here on Breakfast Central, so Nigerians can be inundated with every single thing that would either protect and also help them to better live in a country where there's so many questions and then there's so many good laws. Thank you for being here.
I would just before we leave, I would just also want to take this point. I was hoping that I make mention of this, and I'm thankful for being given this opportunity. Lawyers, like we were mentioning behind, the scene, lawyers are at the forefront of some of these issues. I mentioned something earlier. Yes, you can make arguments relying on provisions of the law, but there's something called abuse of court process or taking undue advantage of legal procedures. The law is not an ass. The law is not made for you to try to take advantage of provisions to give effect to wrong consequences and wrong principles. And this is why I really very commend our Supreme Court, because sometime last year, or was it 2 years ago, the Supreme Court not only dismissed an appeal for a matter that started at the magistrate court. The magistrate court, of course, held in favor of the landlord. The lawyer for the tenant went ahead to the High Court. The High Court upheld the position of the magistrate court. He went ahead again to the Court of Appeal, from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court not only dismissed that matter, the Supreme Court recommended that that lawyer be forwarded, his details be forwarded to the disciplinary committee.
And we certainly
of the
hope that
Nigerian Bar Association.
more of that is being done to be able to checkmate
exactly.
that.
But we do not even...
unfortunately, we really have to run now because we have our next conversation.
It's all right.
Definitely we'll have you back with us again. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
We've got a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking about Ebola. What is happening in the world? How ready are we in Nigeria? Stick around for that in a moment.
Welcome back. The World Health Organization, WHO, has declared the ongoing Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda a public health emergency of international concern following the spread of the rare Bundibugyo strain of the virus. According to WHO, the strain currently spreading has no approved vaccine or specific treatment. while surveillance and border monitoring have been intensified to contain the outbreak. And WHO officials say insecurity and cross-border movement in affected areas are complicating response efforts. Meanwhile, Nigerian health authorities say there are currently no confirmed Ebola cases in Nigeria, but surveillance at airports and border entry points have been strengthened as precautionary measures continue. Joining us to have this conversation, we do have a virologist and professor, Oyewale Tomori. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us, and thanks for your patience.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Let's start off with the resurface, or you could say the coming back again to this situation that we find ourselves. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, identified Lagos in particular, and also the Federal Capital Territory, not forgetting other states such as Rivers, Borno, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, and the likes, as states at high risk of Ebola entry due to the risk of increasing international travel and regional population movement. Can you shed more light on why it is important that we do take action now rather than wait till it's late?
Thank you very much. And I'm glad that NCDC has finally woken up. I think the steps they are taking now should have been taken the day WHO announced that measure, because within that day, people will have been traveling and they could have sneaked into the country. So our measure should have been taken immediately. The WHO said this is a public health of international concern. So that's the first thing. So I'm glad they've done it. But again, they've done it on paper. The reality of it, we'll see. Supposing, just for, hopefully we don't get, somebody comes into the country. The students will tell you are prepared very well. It's the day of exam, we know whether he has prepared well. NCDC has prepared, they put things on paper, but then if one case comes in, then we'll know really whether we have done well or not, or they are fully prepared.
Now, Professor Tomori, what makes the Bugio strain different from previous Ebola outbreaks, and what's even responsible for this outbreaks in the first place? Because after a few years, another case springs up, and it's almost always originates from the Democratic Republic of Congo. What could be responsible for this?
Well, first of all, there are 3 or 4 different types of Ebola. There's Ebola Zaire originally, and there's Ebola Sudan. Both of them occurred way back in 1976. Then we got this Ebola Bundibugyo, which came in 2007 in Uganda. And then there's Ebola Tide Forest, which is happening in the Ivory Coast. The 2 that are caused the major issues, which have been made, or the 3 actually, that are caused the major human infection, the first one I mentioned, the Sudan, the Zaire, and also the Bundibugyo. Those are the ones that are causing this. But more importantly, we've only had Bundibugyo about 2 times. This is the 3rd time. The others have occurred like about 17 times, particularly in DR Congo. Why is it occurring? The viruses are always with us. When we alter the balance of our relationship, is then when we get it. These viruses are in their niche. And when you as a human being invade that niche, then you get the disease. So they're always there. And it is when we make, like we invade the forest, we do things, we eat animals we shouldn't eat, all those kind of things. When you break that balance, then you have epidemics coming. And as you said, DR Congo has had about 17 episodes. Something must be going on right there.
I mean, according to the reports, Prof, we're seeing that 1,077 suspected cases, 247 deaths have already been reported in the DRC. And Uganda with a case fatality rate as high as 24.6%. Coming back home to Nigeria, we can't afford to be hit by another strain of Ebola. From your assessment, would you say that we're being prepared? We're ready enough? Should we be alarmed?
We should be alarmed, as you have used the word. In fact, the report you're mentioning in DR Congo, those figures are just the tip of the iceberg because their surveillance is not strong enough. They've had this thing for almost 6 weeks now, and the information didn't come out until almost 3 or 4 weeks after it started. So that's the lesson we need to learn from there. It could be happening, and if our surveillance is not good enough, then you won't even detect it. One of the major problems that happened in DR Congo was that the laboratory capability to do the diagnosis was not there. There was only one big lab in Kinshasa, which had all the reagents. But the one in Bunia only had one kind of reagent, and therefore it couldn't diagnose the others. So those are the lessons I think we need to learn. We should, I'm not saying we should panic, but we should prepare. And I said NCDC has prepared on paper. And why am I saying that? Which lab do we have that's going to do the testing? Do they have the reagents for the Ebola strains in their lab? You remember the way we do in Nigeria, we build labs according to disease. There's COVID lab, there's yellow fever lab, there's whatever lab. We should have labs that actually can look at all diseases together, not a COVID lab. And you remember during the COVID, we had almost 100 and something laboratories. Go and check how many of them are functioning now. They're probably less than, I don't know, very few. So when we say we are prepared, it is not on past glory. It is actually prepared exactly on the ground. I want to know NCDC to tell us how many of the labs you have are actually ready. Where can I do my testing? Is it in Lagos alone? Is it in Abuja? Is it everywhere? Those are the kind of information you tell people. Detailed planning, not broad-based. We have put this surveillance in place and all those kind of things, contact tracing and all that. So we need to get concrete, specific information. Take the issue of the border, where people, because that's where we have the problem, from the airport and all that. What have we done? I mean, go to the past. Many people don't fill that form. Even if they fill it, they give you wrong telephone number. They give you wrong address. We need to get that information to our people. We're doing it for your sake, not for Nigeria. We're doing it for you not to die. Therefore, put the right information. If you are sitting in 2A, put your name 2A. Because if you put 7C, then the man who may have given you an infection, who is sitting next to you, might have the infection. But because you are not listed on that, they won't look for you. So we must be honest as individuals. Use this form properly. And NCDC must provide us with information, feedback. These forms we are filling, what have we got from it? How have we helped us?
And I completely agree with you, Prof, because I was having this conversation about, even from the airports, what measures are being put. I recall that during COVID, from the airport, there were screenings happening live at the airport. I do not know if that has happened now. I came back a few weeks ago, and there was no sort of screening happening at the airport at that time. Also to mention, in terms of our healthcare providers, we've had a mass exodus of doctors out of the country. So how many doctors do we have to be able to handle this? Should this hit us with the current state of the country with inflation? And then information is another issue. So I want you to speak to information, Prof, and how important it is, because I did read about how some residents had gone to burn up a section of the Ebola, the hospital where they were being attended to because they refused to give them the body. How important is information dissemination, and what more should this take?
Thank you very much. When we're talking about information, we have had enough experience with Ebola to know what to do. Take the issue of safe burial. It started way back in 1993. I was in Kikwiti at that time, and we introduced safe burial. We've been talking about safe burial all this while, but still today, when people die, people go and wash the body, we go and do this, and then get the Ebola themselves. Those are the kind of things. We must continue to repeat these messages, which I've said before. And I remember what I said, bring that message to the focus of the individual. It is you that is affected. Now, a lot of people don't care about this country. Let's be frank with ourselves. But when it comes to you as an individual, that they're going to die or somebody close to you is going to die, you take it more seriously. So let's get that information. Let's focus it on the individual, that this is affecting you. This is you that we're talking about. It's not Nigeria in general. If you don't care about Nigeria, I'm sure you care about yourself. These are the kind of way we should get that message out. We know all the messages. Wash your hand, keep this one, or that one. But nobody listens to that because, so everybody is not for me.
Professor Tomori, I'm worried because it seems like there is no vaccine for this particular Ebola virus. What does this mean, knowing that there's no vaccine?
It means when people get it, they will rather take the course and survive or they die. And it is an indictment on us in Africa. We get the disease, we wait for Europe to make the vaccines for us. And that's what has happened. Ebola has been with us since 1976, which is 50 years ago. come back home. Lassa fever has been with us since 1969. How many, I can't remember how years ago. And yet we don't have the vaccine. We are waiting for Europe to develop the vaccine for us. As I said, we get the disease and we wait for Europe to develop the vaccine. That's why we are. So the danger in this is that people will get it. There's no way to protect those who may, what called pre-protection. Because if the thing is spreading, if you vaccinate the people, of course, then of course they can be protected. But that is no longer there. So this virus will spread as it likes in any direction, whatever that wants to be, because there's no vaccine to protect the people. And that's, I think, the sad part of it. However, action is going on. There are about 2 or 3 candidate vaccines of the Ebola. You know, there's an Ebola vaccine for the Zaire, but not for the Bunjibuyo. There are candidate vaccines which have not been tested. So action is being made to rapidly test them, so that, hopefully, in a few months from now, people can get the vaccine.
Now, Professor Tomori, you're a virologist yourself, and you said, I mean, it's quite a shame that since these strains have been discovered, we haven't been able to develop vaccines to deal with them, and also Lassa fever. Who is responsible? Where should the blame lie? Is it the African Center for Disease Control? Is it virologists? And what treatment options are available for those that are exposed to the virus?
We are all responsible. The virologists have not made enough noise to make sure that this type of thing goes on. The country itself, most African countries don't care about their people. That's the most important thing. And now you see African countries donating money, 5 billion, 9 million, that kind of thing, to control the disease. When we talk to them to bring this money to prevent the disease, they will not bring it. Now they see something that's going on there, but prevention is to prevent this, is to end up not having to control the disease. We are controlling what we have failed to prevent. We have refused to create the enabling environment for our scientists and researchers, to carry out the assignment. Where they're making the vaccine, you find Africans going there and excelling there because the environment is enabling them and it's conducive for them to do the work they need to do. Here, it's a simple little thing. If I write a proposal to write a research one, I'm going to put 3 billion or 3 million for diesel because I have no electricity. And people look at me and say, what's wrong with this guy? What do you want to use 3 million for diesel? These are things, the enabling environment. Take the issue of security. It's a part of it. So when we talk in the environment, it's not just in the lab. It's also the way we are. When I was growing up in the 1970s, I would wake up in Ibadan at 3 a.m. to go to my lab to go and check my result. Even 6 p.m. now, I won't dare to go out in this country. These are issues we need to talk about. It's not just the lab alone. It's also the environment we're talking about. Take the issue of reagents. We don't produce any reagents. Even if we have to order, remember getting something out of your custom. It says put it at 4 degrees centigrade or 20 degrees centigrade, and they drop it in the oven. And you go through all you have. By the time you get it, it's of no use. And then you put in all sorts of custom charges. So we need to create that enabling environment for our researchers to perform. Because when you take them out of this crazy environment, they excel. It's not the scientists, it is the environment. And we have been telling our government this one for a long time ago. They rather put money to control something because under control measure, all rules are broken. Corruption becomes high. But when you do a thing under normal conditions, let's do this in prevention, they are not interested in that. These are the messages we need to begin to tell our people and our government.
Now, you would like us to know about treatment options for those who have been
thank you very much. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. So far, just like we don't have a vaccine, so we don't also have a treatment for it. You treat the person systematically. There are a few what we call monoclonal antibodies, but they have not been tested. They have been tested for Ebola Zaire, but not for Ebola Bunjibuyo. And so that's why I'm saying indirectly, there's really no treatment yet available. But there are candidates, drugs, monoclonal antibodies, all that kind of thing can be used, which have been used for Ebola Zaire, but not for the Bunjibuyo, which is on now.
All right, and just to mention, how important is it for us, I mean, in terms of preparing ourselves to take maybe beefing up our immunity seriously? Does that play a role?
Well, for me, my first concern will be with the health worker who gets in touch with all those people. We need to, because when they get it, they can also bring it to the family. So we need to protect them, because apart from if we lose them, we have a problem. And what do we need? Simple gloves, coat, sword, all those things. They don't even provide such a thing. Go to some of the hospitals, they are washing gloves. What type of country is that? What type of people are we? How much is it compared to the tire that is in the car of a senator? What are we talking about? We say we are resource limited. We are not resource limited. We are resource wasteful, we are resource squandering, and that's what is killing us.
Professor Tomori, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's really sad to see where we are in terms of our preparedness, and we hope that this is a wake-up call to our government that they need to do something, so we're not being reactive as usual, but instead we'll say that they're at least being proactive. Thank you for your time with us.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
Thank you, and thank you for all you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's now time for us to bring you breakfast headlines. We'll bring it to you right after this break. We begin the news with matters on insecurity as the Nigeria Union of Teachers has threatened to shut down schools nationwide if further attacks occur following a series of kidnappings and killings involving teachers and pupils in parts of the country. Recent incidents include coordinated attacks on schools in Oyo State, where pupils and teachers were abducted, as well as kidnappings at a primary school in Borno State, affecting dozens of children. NUT President Titus Amba says the union can no longer tolerate worsening insecurity around schools, warning that teachers will be directed to stay away from classrooms if safety is not guaranteed. The Mieti Allah Fulaku Yeso Yeso Development Association has called on the federal, state, and local governments to strengthen collaboration with community vigilante groups to address the insecurity across the country. National Security Advisor Comrade Paria made the appeal during an interview in Abuja on Thursday. He said local security outfits work alongside the Nigerian Army, Police, DSS, and NSCDC under regulated supervision. Paria stated that state-backed legislation, intelligence training, and operational support would improve efforts against kidnapping, insurgency, and related crimes. President of Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has commended President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms and leadership style during a traditional Salah homage by principal officers of the Senate to the President's Lagos residence. Akpabio says that the administration has repositioned Nigeria's economy by ending fuel subsidy, harmonizing exchange rates, and addressing excessive government spending. He, however, noted that more work remains in the areas of security, crude oil production, and investment in agriculture.
We also had a situation of continuous expenses in the country as a result of what they call ways and means, which in a layman's language was expending money and printing money without earning income. He has stopped all that. We met multiple exchange rates. He has stopped all that. The National Assembly will assist him to ensure that we improve on the area of security. But it has actually improved, except guerrilla warfare here and there, attacks here and there, because in reality, what we see now are insurgents going to areas of soft targets. Imagine schools, going to churches, going to mosques, and those areas that nobody would think. Security agents will not be there.
Meanwhile, the presidency and the ruling All Progressives Congress APC has dismissed Atiku Abubakar's emergence as the African Democratic Congress presidential candidate, describing it as inconsequential. Atiku secured 1,846,370 votes to defeat Rotimi Amechi and economist Mohammed Hayatuddin, who trailed with 504,117 and 177,120 votes, respectively, in a primary election marred by controversy. Both Amechi and Hayatuddin rejected the conduct of the exercise across the 36 states and the FCT, later boycotting the collation and declaration of results. Reacting, the presidency said Atiku's candidacy poses no electoral threat to President Bola Tinubu in 2027, insisting Nigerians will judge the next election based on performance rather than opposition realignment. Still on political matters, the Lagos State chapter of the Allied People's Movement has adopted Adelaja Adeoye as its consensus candidate for the 2027 governorship election. Adeoye was elected during the party's governorship primaries held in Lagos on Thursday, after which he pledged to work towards the development of Lagos State and the advancement of the party ahead of the 2027 polls. Adeoye has since been presented with a certificate of return.
As you can see, and you witness, you saw people from all the local government chairmen. They came out and they say, I am their candidate. They asked them severally, is this the person you want as your governorship candidate under APM? And it was a resounding yes. That's the same thing that happened across all the local government, 20 local governments in Lagos State today. Of course, I stand a lot of chances. We are not just coming, I'm not just coming to say I want to become a governor of Lagos State. You see, we know what Lagosians want. That is why we develop what we call Atunto Eko 1.0, a detailed, governance blueprint that we are going to use to, reform Lagos, redevelop Lagos, and re-engineer Lagos for inclusive prosperity. Lagos today is on autopilot. Okay, Lagos is just garbage in, garbage out, because the people they impose as governors since 1999, they are not truly for the people. It is some selected few people that they believe that the Lagos is their property. So 2027, I believe, we stand greater chance, and the vote is going to count. The people are going to stand and they are going to vote, and they are going to vote overwhelmingly for APM, and we are going to form the next government.
And that's all at this hour. We will now continue with Breakfast Central. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Olive Emodi, and we'll see you with the newspaper reviews in a moment.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at some of the biggest stories from the front pages of the newspapers. And who better join us this morning other than the one who is a journalist of international repute, one who has been in governance, definitely has worked closely with one of the most renowned governor in Nigeria, particularly from Lagos State. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put your hands together for Mr. Habib Aruna in the house. Woo.
No bill.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
We've missed you so much. We've missed your legendary presence and your vibrant analysis. And we're very happy to.
Yes. She's back from the UK.
I haven't seen this without return from the UK.
No, Mr. Habib, when she came, she forgot the name of the show.
Yes.
She struggled after she said breakfast central.
Yeah, right.
We're happy to have you join us, and happy belated Eid al-Adha to you.
Hey, okay, we'll talk about that.
Absolutely. We do have our correspondent who's joining us live this morning. It's all about May 29 and what each state is definitely doing. At this juncture, let's join our very own Rukayat Jibia, who joins us live this morning. Good morning, Rukayat. For the benefit of our viewers, kindly share with us where you are, what's going on, and what the situation of things definitely is looking like.
Good morning. I am in Katsina, near Fatima Juma Housing Estate. And as you can see, today is the second day of Salah. But it is different for us in Katsina because we are celebrating Salah here, and at the same time, we are mourning for the loss of at least 4 people in Sayaya village.
Can you speak more on that? The loss of the people that you're mourning. It's really sad.
Yeah. So Sayaya is one of the communities that Kachalla Muhammadu, whom is a renowned leader, is in charge of. So a few months back, he sent a letter to them, a warning letter, that if his demands were not met, that he will be forced to attack the village. And as you know, Katsina state government did nothing about that threat. And lo and behold, he attacked Sayaya village yesterday, and he killed at least 4 people. So this is the situation happening in Katsina right now.
And what's the reaction from law enforcement? Has there been any statement from the Katsina State Police Command? Is anybody talking? What's the security presence like around where you are?
Actually, I am still in Katsina. I am not in Sayaya village, but I spoke with some people with my fixer in Sayaya, and he said there was no security present till yesterday. I don't know as of today because I'm planning to visit Sayaya. So maybe when I'm here, I'll get back to you with more.
All right, that's a good one with the updates, but very sad as well coming from that particular community. We look forward to join you again, possibly in our subsequent programming or news, so you can give us an update and a feedback into what the security operatives are doing there. But thank you so much for joining us, and do well to have a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's come back home to the front pages of the newspapers. Our very first paper this morning will be This Nigeria. The phone lines will be opened. You can see the number on the screen in a bit. But a big one on This Day Nigeria. The papers are a bit, scanty this morning. But This Day Nigeria is focusing on May 29. Group raises the alarm over rising abuse of children. And I bet you know that actually has been pushed by what took place in Oyo State. The president's pictures on the front page of the newspaper. And it's been circulated, or there's a big circle of promises delivered. That's what we know as the Renewed Hope Agenda. Let's take a look at some of them before we have our in-house analysts look at them together. First one, enhance infrastructure and transportation to enable enablers of growth, infrastructure. Second one, energy and natural resources. We have boosting agriculture, strengthen national security, reform the economy. We also have, what's this one?
Improve governance for effective service delivery.
Yes.
And accelerate diversification through industrialization, digitization, creative arts, manufacturing and innovation. And finally, education, health, and social investment. These, according to the front page of The Guardian, are the promises delivered by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 8-point agenda, renewed hope agenda.
No, it's a wraparound advert paid for by the Ministry of Information in Abuja. The Federal Ministry of Information, paid by the minister, paid for these adverts.
How do you know?
No, that is it. No, it's an advert.
Yeah, so he paid for these adverts, but is that advert a current reality?
And telling us what they have done so far. But I think when our children are still in the bush, in the forest, in parts of Borno, in part of Oyo State, part of Katsina State, Nigerians will be least interested in this pontification, in this what is flashing. It's flashing now with Renewed Hope agenda, Renewed Hope achievements. To me, it makes no meaning to me. And when these children are still in the bush, I'm a parent, and most people are not happy. This is one of the saddest salaries we've had, when we have teachers and pupils, small children, still in the bush. So I think that is the overriding thing that is going on in Nigeria now, not what this man is flashing. Yes, the base of achievements, we know.
But sanctity of life should be paramount.
The economy, but if you look at what is also trending, what is trending is that we've borrowed almost 16 to 17 trillion.
Yes.
And they've used less than 5 trillion on projects.
I saw that story this morning.
And Nigerians all over the world are also putting pressure on these lending bodies that don't give these people money again. Don't know what they're using the money for. And IMF and World Bank are listening.
Yeah.
That is what Nigerians are saying. Are you doing the right thing? So we need to ask questions. Yes, we have a right to promote what we have achieved so far. But we also have the right to ask questions. How far have you gone in fulfilling your promises and campaign manifesto?
Let's have, there's another story on the front page of This Nigeria. Can we have it?
But before we go, Benga, let's just take a quick pause. Let's go to the case in Kano, particularly the Durbar Festival. We do hear it was postponed yesterday. Despite the fact that the two emirs, there was a bit of differences on who would host, but mostly bordering on insecurity as well in Kano State. But we do have our reporter who's on ground. Before we move to the next story on the paper, we have Stephen Enoch. He joins us all the way. Stephen, yesterday when you joined us, you gave us an update that a few hours from when you joined us, we're expecting that the festivities will kick off. And then you also talked about a day before what had happened especially from the other Emir Bayeru's side. Can you give us an update on what took place yesterday? And then we hear of a postponement. What's the latest concerning all of these?
Okay, so for yesterday, we told you that the Emir was going to have a Durbar in the evening, and they're going to have festivities around the palace of Ado Bayero. But yesterday, after we left the palace of Emir Sanusi, currently we are at the palace of Emir Sanusi Lamido, and so when we left yesterday, we got feelers that the Durbar has been cancelled. Then we saw the police update saying that they have cancelled all forms of Durbar in Kano. So yesterday, Emir Ado Bayero had the Dembe contest. And then here was just empty, and people were not so happy. But right now, the Emir Sanusi is ready to have a motorcade from his palace down to the government house. You can see there's a jeep blocking our view now, but in a few seconds you'll be able to see the car he's going to use. It's a white. I don't know if you can see, but it's a white vehicle, a motorcade that would go from this particular palace down to the government house. And we have security agencies personnel here. Over by my left, we have some policemen. Over here also we have some people from the vigilante, we have DSS, we have NSCDC, we have the Royal Guards just down there. And I also have a guest. His name is Lamido Sanusi, but not the real Lamido Sanusi. He's a member of the royal family who's going to talk to us about what happened yesterday, how he feels, and what's going to happen today. It's good to have you, Sanusi Lamido, but not the real Sanusi, right?
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us what happened yesterday. How did you feel that the Durbar was cancelled, and what is going to happen today?
But first of all, I will start by thanking Allah Almighty to spare our lives to see yet another Salah Durbar. Of course, what happened yesterday was unfortunate because not only the family members or the Emir, all the citizens of Kano State, they are happy to see the Durbar, more especially that yesterday Durbar, on Eid, after Eid, there is Eid Durbar. A day after that Eid, that's called Hawan Daushe. So that Hawan Daushe, not only the Emir, most of Kano citizens, they love the Durbar more than all the other Nasarawa, Torei and others.
So how do you feel?
I feel bad. It is unfortunate, but we still thank Allah. All this what is happening will overcome. One day, Emir will do his Durbar right from, as you see, even last year, only Emir coming back from Eid to his palace on horse. But
So tell me now, the Emir is going to go on a motorcade from his house
to the government house.
Can you tell us how you're feeling and the mood around the palace now?
It is unfortunate also because what is the interest is that to see the Emir on horse with his all cabinet and district head and traditional title holders, to see them on the horses. But we still thank Allah. We see Emir coming out from his palace to the government house on moto. We see the Emir, he is alive and he is healthy. That one is also good for all of us. Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, so irrespective of the fact that the Durbar has been cancelled, they are happy that today the Emir will come out on a motorcade, but they were expecting that he would come out on his horse and they will see him in his beauty and all, but it's just a motorcade that's going to happen today. And over there in the road, it's even more like a one-way. We have so many security officials on the road, the police, the army, the NSCDC, so vigilante, and so on. They're on the road trying to ensure that there's peace and order. Yesterday we had people from the other side saying that, okay, if this Emir comes out, they're going to show their own force, and that is why I'm sure the police made sure that they cancelled all Durbar, because they did not want to have a situation where we'll have both factions coming out and it's going to be you know what's going to happen, right? So that's the updates I have at this time.
Well done, Stephen. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and thanks for giving us this update. I'm sure everyone who was wondering why it was suspended now have full details and facts. Thanks for your time, and great job well done. Thank you. Let's come back to the studios. Mr. Bivarona, reasons why Durban was cancelled.
I live in Kano for 7 years. Kano people don't joke with this Durban. You know, the late Emir Adobayero. And I have to go and witness it personally. It's very colorful, you know, symbolic, religious, and cultural. So because of these factions, we have 2 emirs now. One that was created by this governor, and the other one supported by Ganduje. And curiously, they are both in the same camp now. They are both in APC. Why can't they resolve it? Because I have disposition and sympathy for Sanusi Lamido. Brilliant man. He personified royalty. So I don't know why they are. If we have been removed, gazetted, then they should just ratify it and have one single emir in Kano. What we are saying is political. There was no Doba last year due to the security problem. The same thing this year, there was no Doba. So it's affecting the way those guys are thinking. I don't very soon enough of that to be resolved.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Let's now go back to the front page of the newspaper. On the front page of The Guardian, the 2027 We Must Unite to Rescue Nigeria article tells ADC aspirants, coalition estimates 19,980 killings, 12,362 abductions in 3 years.
These are figures you find in full-blown conflicts. The Russia-Ukraine war has been going on for about 3 to 4 years or 5 years, and this just the number of deaths on both sides, both military and civilian, is not up to a fraction of this, and yet I don't see the sense of urgency or emergency. This is insane, to say the least. What's your take on this? And you know, the president declared a verbal state of emergency last year, but things don't seem to have changed. Even we evolved the United States of America, but still the situation seems not to have improved.
I think I'm always despondent discussing this issue of insecurity. Just like what I said during my opening remarks, our children are still in the bush in New York, Bomosho. It's sad. Look at what your reporter said that is taking place now in Katsina State. Look at Bono, the epicenter of these terrorist attacks. No, it's not getting better. Like Pabio told us 2 days ago, that it's not political. That after the elections, everything will lie down. Why should we tie insecurity to politics?
So are we supposed to even roll over and allow them to kill us and wait till after elections? Going by his logic.
The president has appointed a special advisor on home security.
Home security.
What are they doing?
First of its kind.
What are they doing?
Yeah, but we have a national security advisor. How are their roles different? And how effective is it?
No, just like we have in the U.S. We have a national security advisor. So let's just hope they do something, but it's not getting better, and it's scary.
All right, I want to open the phone lines to let our audience know that we'll take calls. The numbers to call are on your TV screen. The phone lines are officially open. Let's hear your thoughts on any of the stories. But we'll go on a very quick break. When we come back, I'll ask Mr. Abibaruna his thoughts regarding a faction of the PDP ratifying President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Even the man himself has not said anything.
It's like you must run by force and by fire. We'll be right back. You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still reviewing the front pages, and like I mentioned before we went on break, the phone numbers are officially open, the phone lines, the numbers to call are on your screen. Please call us and make a contribution about any of the stories. Also, we'll be heading to YouTube in a moment to take comments. We're streaming live on YouTube. News Central TV Live. Please go and drop a comment. And now let's get Mr. Abi Barono's thoughts about the Turaki-led PDP to ratify Jonathan's presidential nomination bid. Has Jonathan officially said he wants to run?
That's the question.
And number two, if people are using your name for clout, as they say on social media, shouldn't you come out and distance yourself or affirm or confirm? Because it's leaving a lot of Nigerians in limbo. And it's not just an ordinary person. He's a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And people have gone far to say different things about his contesting. And what we know so far is that the courts have said he's eligible to contest. But there's a faction of the PDP saying different things.
There are two strands, or three strands into it. The first one, just like what Olive said, he has not told us his contesting. That is one. Two, his silence is giving room to many speculations and thoughts. Is he coming out? Is he not coming out? Will he contest? Not contest. The third part is that the Turaki-led PDP, that is not recognized by law. The law recognizes the one led by Wiki. Turaki-led PDP is using it to seek relevance. When I want to mention Jonathan's name, people will look at the PDP against which party is that? They are not really coming to contest. And I don't think, I said here a few days ago, we contest.
And besides, Professor Sandy Ono has been chosen.
His reputation is on the line.
Reputation, one.
Absolutely. His credibility.
Two.
It's on the line. Because people will now believe that, what is wrong with this man? And I was thinking that if he's been consulting, by now he should have finished his consultations.
Consulting widely.
You see, it's very important. At the press conference, put an end to these speculations. I'm not contesting, so that we don't overheat to some extent the political
But you did mention something about the Wiki-led side of the PDP being recognized by the law. If they're recognized by the law and they've conducted their primaries, they adopted Professor Sandy Ono as their sole candidate, doesn't this automatically put an end to any sort of speculations? Because you can't have two PDPs on the ballot box.
The last time I checked, I don't think the Wiki faction they've picked their own candidate.
Yes,
I don't think so.
Professor Sandy Ono was adopted as a consensus candidate.
That is on paper. We all know implicitly that Wiki is working for the re-election of President.
Maybe that's why they picked. Maybe that's why they picked Professor Sandy Ono. But we asked.
He said I'm working for the election of President Tinubu. No, he said that what he said.
Yes, but when we spoke to the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, he said Professor Sandy Ono is a formidable challenger.
And we are waiting for that.
Strong, very strong challenger.
He's very strong.
But he's a powerful challenger. Put it that way. Mr. Bibarona, let's go to the
on a very serious note, I think my President Jonathan, a man I respect so much, a man with a lot of international and national reputation, that well respected, the statesman should tell Nigerians what is going on.
Okay.
They should wrap it up. They should end this.
Wrap it up. Maybe it's just, and maybe there's also something called PR. You know, maybe his men are saying, you know what, let's enjoy the PR first. Let your name, when they Google 2027, let's see that your relevance is still, that's another thing.
We are playing the game.
Yeah. Let's look at another paper. I was going to say, let's go to this.
But the story, the of the Guardian, the other story about the
Yes.
So we're moving to the Guardian, and the Guardian has.
We're in the Guardian.
The Guardian. So I want to say we're moving to this Nigeria.
And I like how they still managed to get that money for the paid advertorial, but still squeezed in some stories.
But we look at it.
You cannot eat your cake. This is called eating your cake and having it.
The article story.
Yeah.
The article visited Amechi yesterday.
Yeah.
Amechi said he's not comfortable with the process.
Yes.
And Hayatuddin as well.
Which that consummated the articles as evidence. But if you look at yesterday, they were laughing, as usual.
Yes. Shaking hands.
Take Nigeria. Take us as fools.
And was the process really true?
And telling him that, you know what, you come together. After we have been allegedly rigged out. See all of them, Tabu, all of them, they were there too.
Yeah.
Yes, I have no problem with Atiku's emergence. My problem is the fragmentation of the opposition parties. I've been saying this consistently. As a political reporter, and the story of politics. You cannot pose a challenge to the omnibus called APC, led by a leader that is very, very astute, pragmatic, and streetwise. You cannot, how can you put a challenge? We have Onobi somewhere. We have SDB Adewale, that man somewhere. And Atiku Abubakar somewhere. We have Donald Duke in PRP. They cannot win.
Sandy Ono, a strong contender.
I don't look at them as they are jokers.
Finger, please. Why did Sandy Ono's nomination not make a big deal?
I mean, for a party that produced the presidents that led Nigeria for 60 years. That's interesting.
You can tell us why.
Maybe we should ask the National Publicity Secretary that told us he's a strong and mighty contender.
Okay, let's...
To a large extent, we can succeeded in destroying the PDP.
But there's a big one.
What do you make of Pius Osifo? Was he a strong contender against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the APC?
Who is that?
Pius Osifo, not Pius Ikedia.
All written script. Written script.
We need our bell. We really miss our bell.
Where's our bell?
They took our bell antebellum. They took our antebellum. But let's go. If we go to the next paper, it's pretty much the same.
This
so I want us to
Nigeria.
go to...
No, actually, I think we should take that. Yes, it's the same, but there's a story there. 105 Nigerians killed in South Africa in 7 years.
Meanwhile, yesterday, the Ghanaians evacuated over 300
Yes.
citizens to Accra. The government is very... And I think Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has also sent evacuation flights. I don't know if people got on board. And Julius Malema, the chairman of the EFF, opposition political party, said, now that those 300 Ghanaians have gone back to Accra, have you created, show me the 300 jobs that has been created in the last 24 hours. So, I'm really disappointed in
It's only Malema that is saying the truth. You know, the president, Ramaphosa has been very evasive. You know, he has not been emphatic in addressing this problem of xenophobia. You know, and you look at Nigeria's contribution to that country independence. A lot of billions of naira, of dollars.
Okay,
spent.
Let's pause, because I want us to take it from a different perspective. Let's first hear from Musa calling from Plateau, I believe.
Jos. Yes.
Jos, yeah. Good morning. Thanks for calling. Please go ahead with your comment.
Thank you.
Dimfa, thank you.
Yes, a pleasure. Yeah, I think what I want to say is the achievement railed out by our president seems not to be reflective on the lives of Nigerians. But perhaps if you read it, or if you rate it from the level they appear, that can be understood. Because if you see those who are close to power, watch them on television and see how clean they are. And if you look at them before their time, you find that there's a big difference. So if we read them based on their appearances now, we will say, okay, Nigeria is moving forward. But if you read it based on what Nigerians are looking on the street, it gives room for suspicion. So I think the federal government has not been fair to Nigerians, particularly APC and Tinubu as a government, because life is becoming more difficult for us every day. So I think they should have a rethink. Let them have sympathy on Nigerians. They are more concerned about their lives, how to win elections now. For the past 1 year, the emphasis of this government has been on how to win elections, not on how Nigerians will survive. So I just pray that they should have a consideration. They have had enough of the fair share of the cake. Let Nigerians breathe, please. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
I like that.
It says let Nigerians...
Because I would have said they will have their own fair share of the cake. Of the cake. Let Nigeria also have a share. And this kind of program is what our leaders should be watching. When we look at public opinion, what they are saying about the government.
You can feel the pulse.
Except for the past 1 year, Nigerian leaders, they've been focused on politicking.
I mean, beyond 1 year.
And it's
almost as if...
Without a doubt, that's what they've been doing. You know, there's not been deliberate attempt to address challenges facing Nigerians.
Okay, let's talk about the challenges facing Nigerians. We were speaking about the Nigerians killed in South Africa, and why they brought out this report was because there were those who are alleging that Nigerians were not being affected. It says this report is by the Nigerian community in South Africa that have said this. It's contained in a statement signed by the leaders of the Nigerian Union South Africa, NUSA, Smart Nwobi, and the Nigerian Citizens Association of South Africa, NICASA, Frank Onyekwelu. And the group was reacting to a South African Broadcasting Corporation report attributed to the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, which reportedly claimed that migrants were not being killed in South Africa. And the detailed numbers of migrants being killed in South Africa.
What I will say, we have seen the figures. Even saw the video. Attacking, even though some of these videos are misleading. Yeah. But the fact remains that there is xenophobia problem in South Africa. And these people, they don't even hide that it's there to foreigners, which is very unfortunate. Now they're saying, and we've seen Nigerians overseas in other countries. Why is South Africa the problem?
Mr. Abiba,
from what we write, the sociology of South Africa is that these people are lazy. And that is why their women, some of their women are going after Nigerian men. Nigerian men are very hardworking. They're very hardworking and they take care of their families, of their wives. But South Africans are...
you mentioned something.
Early in the morning,
we're talking about this, about Nigeria's contribution towards the ending apartheid and how what's going on now does not show a lot of gratitude. It's really, really unfortunate. And it's not just financial, monetary, and diplomatic contribution towards ending apartheid. Even social, culturally, we did a lot. I remember there was a time, Sonny Okosun, I'm not sure if all of you remember.
I was not born.
She was really young.
I was not born. I was
then, but I
born.
believe Joe Hansen, as an elderly man on this set, you remember. Sonny Okosun, so many people were singing, Mandela songs, Free Mandela, Majek Fashe.
Yeah.
There was even a famous one by Collinson. Mandela, Mandela. Olofaraji. I don't know that one. Oh, not Ejadidi. I can't remember the lyrics, but congratulations on your freedom. So imagine after putting all those efforts.
And this is what Africa gets.
This is what we're getting.
Really
and again, back to our musicians.
It's not fair.
Let's bring it back home. Why is it that things are happening and our musicians are always singing about girls and champagne? Is there no more conscious music? Or are they not affected by what is going on?
Mr. Abibarona, that's a political analyst.
No, it's part of it now.
No, my job here is to read papers.
Okay, on YouTube.
Let's look. Let's take
let me just take this comment. The problem
story.
with politics in Nigeria is that state resources are used in funding elections. In America, they spend more than 50 times what we spend in elections, but they never use state resources.
Correct.
Okay, let's move
Fubara's brother.
That is a fact.
The story we hear
Say
now
maybe it's not his brother. They just
so yesterday they came out and said it is his brother. Their story, they're different sources.
And this is on Al Jazeera, right?
And Al Jazeera is saying it's Fubara's brother has come to run under the NDC for governorship.
How true is it that?
The point we're looking at is this the response to?
No. You see, from what we are saying, I was surprised.
Can you have his brother?
I was surprised when the man capitulated. That they will not run for second time. They want to now dig into my sources. And I was made to understand that was the agreement they signed. We will allow you to finish your term, but we will not seek second term. That was the agreement they signed.
First or second agreement?
No.
Agreement antebellum or agreement before
the one I learned, the president superintended that.
Finish your tenure.
So they're not calling a day before that, come, this is something that you signed, though. Very explicit. You have not run for second term. That was why now came out in the open.
After that,
yes, I won't contest. Now, I'm not sure Bola will be that naive to sponsor his other brother against his own party. I don't think so. If I would say that, I don't think he will also want to force the other Fubara from not pursuing his ambition. Are you getting me?
He has a right.
He has a right to contest, but I don't think Fubara will be so unpragmatic to know that it will be subsider to be sponsoring another candidate against his own party. Because the man is very vulnerable. Fubara is very vulnerable. He's not a politician. Two, it was imposed by his principal. The principal is a very aggressive man. They want to achieve, but you know what I'm saying? So
he's a veteran politician.
We just will fulfill his term next year and take a long walk into the night.
Let's go.
Maybe they'll give him. Maybe he will do like his colleagues and retire into
to support the president
into the legislative house.
President Tinubu is a man that do not forget to put that.
No. You can't deny that.
No, we always
the legislative
feel.
house
Look
is
at
the retirement plan for the executive.
Look at
no
somebody like
legislative house
Otunba Gbenga Daniel, and I think most of us in the media are also guilty of this. Somebody has fulfilled his term as a politician. He's done 2 years as governor. He was a senator. Why must they always be in politics, like the revolving? Can't you be an ambode and just?
It's not our fault. It is what because they themselves will not. They refuse to leave power. Power corrupts and absolute power.
I mean, look at
absolutely.
Akinwumi Ambode. Since he retired, he's not taking up any appointment.
Are you forgetting?
He's not retired. He's not retired.
Since he left politics.
But he's a better person, first class administrator, an achiever. You know, but through nature of Lagos politics, he's not favored for now.
We need young.
He has a place in history, and the future is surely for him.
Okay.
Our time is up. I would have said
really
we wrap it up with now that we have the National Assembly that is divided now.
Indeed.
Akpabio says when they come back, they will work for Tinubu, and the house is now divided. Some people are not coming back again.
And Eduoko said they promised me.
He said they promised me, but they didn't give me.
You can always predict what Akpabio will say, and we do. If Akpabio says, I'm not supporting Tinubu, that's the story.
Okay.
If he's not supporting Tinubu, that's not the story, because that is what he will say.
Speaking of Tinubu, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I don't like that. It's an Akpabio. It's an Akpabio dictionary.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's time in office for the past 3 years will come under review for the next 2 hours. We have Tolulope Adelero Balogun joining us, as well as Mazino. The both of them will be analyzing the past 3 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as well as letting us know what to expect within the next 1 year. It's going to be a very packed show, so please stay tuned. Do not tune away. As for us, we will be watching from behind the scenes, but we'll be back with you on Monday. I am Olive Emodi.
See you next week. Have a nice weekend.
And you are who?
I'm Joe Hansen, and it's Mr. Bibaru.
And it's Mr. Bibaru now.
Yeah.
And it's goodbye.
All right. Bye.